And we talked about hiring Black.
Yeah.
I know that if there was an attractive white woman and there was a Miss Seeley Black woman that were interviewed, you would give the attractive white woman a leg up. I know you would, because you've done it before.
Okay, so two things. Two things can be true.
That you're a liar and a hypocrite. You're correct. Two things can be true.
First of all, if I'm hiring a salesperson, I'm going to hire the most competent salesperson. And if that person happens to be attractive or I believe is going to move the needle forward with respect to the sale, yeah, I'm going to hire the person who I believe men who may be the buyers are going to be more prone to buy from. Welcome to season 2 of I Take Your Point podcast. I am John Dunson, joined by my lovely co-host. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to spend with us. We enjoyed having dialogue with you in season 1. Had an opportunity to check out any of those episodes. Please be so kind as to do so. We'd love to have your comments and feedback. Couple of changes coming up in season 2. You'll notice you are seeing us for the first time, at least me on camera for the first time. So going forward, we're going to be doing a couple of things a little bit different with the podcast. We've heard your feedback, and as a part of understanding that we do listen to you, one of the things that we're going to be doing is putting up each episode with a short video of us introducing what the episode is about. We will then transition back over to our signature, using the clip arts of the stories that we're covering to make certain that every 60 to 90 seconds you are paying attention to the information that is being delivered. I want to take the time to thank my wonderful colleague who took the opportunity to get all guzzied up and put on her Sunday's finest.
Sunday's finest.
Well, Monday's finest or Tuesday's finest, to make certain that she was properly representing. Ms. Lynn, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to you and to everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well. All right, in today's episode, we're going to be digging into a theme that has been of value and interest to a lot of us in the culture. And today we're going to be talking about body shaming. And specifically, we're going to be covering that through the lens of culture, politics, and entertainment, as we always do. So from a cultural standpoint, we're going to talk about how it is that we body shame in the pastoral realms with respect to church. And then we'll make the shift over to body shaming specifically with respect to Black women when they show up for their work venues, and how it is that they have to be dressed a certain way, whether it's with their style of dress or whether it's with their hair. And then lastly, we'll end up on the entertainment realm where we're talking about Big Luther versus Little Luther. And I am almost certain that my co-host has no idea what Big Luther versus Little Luther is, so we'll try our best to help her out, and we'll end up with some remarks. Ms. Lynn, before we jump in, anything you want to add?
I just wanted to thank everyone for engaging, for subscribing. Comments over the last 29 episodes have been amazing. We've all learned and grown, so I really hope that community continues to grow.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you,
guys.
And
I also want to thank you for being the co-host. I forgot about that. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. You've enriched my life beyond my wildest dreams.
Well,
I'm sorry, nightmares.
I appreciate that. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's talk about New Birth Missionary Baptist Church and that great spiritual leader for some. I know you refer to him as pastor, and that's Dr. Jamal Bryant. One of the things that has been happening over the last couple of weeks, especially in the Black community, is individuals have been talking about what it is that Pastor Carey decided to wear to UNCF Atlanta Mayor's Ball. She wore a dress that some in the culture took offense to. Some considered it inappropriate for the spouse of a man of God. Some considered it inappropriate for any Black woman to wear out in public. When it happened, you pinged me, and this was maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. You said, we need to do a podcast on this because if I'm getting it, then that means that it's trending. And I said, when we come back off vacation, it's still going to be talked about because that's what the culture does. We talk about things that are going to, in some ways, allow us to feel that we are better than other people. And so what say you about the dress that Miss Carey wore to the UNCF Mayor's Ball?
You know how I feel about fashion, and I feel about commenting on women's bodies and their style. So obviously, I'm sure this will be no surprise to anyone. I found no problem with her wearing a sexy dress on a night out with her husband. In my opinion, you don't have to be Miss Seeley in a too blessed to be stressed t-shirt to be holier than God. I mean, even Sugar Avery and her cleavage found Jesus at the end of the movie. So I don't think that that is going to make you holier than, or it's going to distract away, especially if it is with her husband. People will pull out scripture and they will say, well, it's modesty. Well, I could also pull out scripture where it shows that adornment, as long as it's not used to seduce, to whatever, is okay. So we can't build scripture around our narrative. It is what it is. If she was wearing it in the church, the only reason why I would have a problem with that is because of society and how it would be distracting away from the message. But as a night out with her husband, she's a full woman. She's a full woman with a full marriage, a marriage where he loves her. She loves him. He finds her attractive. She finds him attractive. And I'm not going to tone that down to appease people that may have their issues. issues. There seems to be this, I like to call it a double factor, especially with Black women's bodies. There's a fascination and a fear of our bodies. And so it becomes this, it becomes something where people feel like they have the agency to talk about our bodies, whether we're too thin, we're too fat, we're too whatever. It's all their perspective. I like to go back, was it In Vogue? It's none of your business. No, that was Salt and Pepper. It's none of your business. If I want to take a guy home with me tonight in a sexy ass dress, it's none of your business. Mind your own business.
Okay, I will say this. Dress, when I saw the dress, I was like, oh, okay. But look, obviously, you know how I feel about Pastor Brian. He's a frat brother and one that I've known for, 30 plus years. So he is someone that his faults and all, let me be clear. He is one that I really admire what he is doing and what he has done with respect to the culture and respect to Atlanta and New Birth specifically. He bought the dress for his wife, like you said. And he said that. He purchased the dress.
It doesn't matter who purchased it. Her mama could have purchased it.
Hold on. I say that to say he purchased it because he wanted to see her in it. So that supports what it is that you said with respect to, as long as he's okay with it, that's all that matters to some degree. Now, I do agree with you that had she worn it in church, that would have been a different discussion.
And
but
it could have
been in support of the sermon that she was given.
Yeah.
Yes. What I took huge offense to was the pastor, and I can't remember his name, who decided that he was going to call her out of her name and essentially call her a $2 whore for wearing the dress. Now, look, if I'm a man of God and I'm frat, I'm going to have to go see that pastor and we're going to have some words, and it may turn into something else because you're talking about my wife now. You made it personal. And so from that standpoint, those are the things that I have issue with. But someone who grew up in the Black church, one of the things that I grew up with was that you had to look a certain way, dress a certain way to attend church. Women had to have their dresses that were below the knees. If you had cleavage that was showing, then that was like a pearl clutch moment. Men had to be dressed a certain way. And so now when you see the culture policing what is respectable with respect to what should be worn by church folk outside of the church, then we cannot be mad when you see that same standard then be applied to others when they are looking at us in the workplace or at school, because it starts at home. And it starts with us with respectability politics and the body shaming of how it is that we expect women to dress inside the church and how it is that we expect for them to present themselves in the workplace and outside the church.
First thing I'd like to address is the $2 whore comment. If that were directed at me, my retort would be, how dare you call me a $2 whore? You can't afford me. I promise you that. $2, babe, you're going to have to take out a loan. Any rate, going back to that, I always like to look at it historically. And we talk about the Black church and how we're presented. I kind of look at it from, God, I could probably go back all the way to slavery. I don't know. But there were certain things that we had to do as women, Black women, so that we weren't, it didn't stop them, but so that we weren't drawing attention to ourselves from master, right? And so dress modestly, do these things, and hopefully he won't come in here at night. Like we had to present ourselves. And then men, I still do this, that sometimes the way you dress is going to impact the way people interact with you. So you'll look back in the 50s and the 40s and whatever, men and women of the Black culture were always dressed nicely because it was presentable and it was something that white people would not be impacted and find offensive. They would be okay if you had on a suit as opposed to some jeans, right? And so people will treat you based on their own biases. The second thing that I want to say about that is that nowhere in the Bible, and if you holy people, if you're out there, Jesus, let me know where it says in the Bible that you have to wear a certain dress code to work. He literally had sex workers, thieves, and everyone else in the church. I'm pretty sure they weren't wearing Prada. I just find it fascinating. When you go to church, people are always adorned with these beautiful hats. What do they call them? The crowns? Beautiful, and spend hundreds of dollars on it. I'm pretty sure Jesus didn't say, ooh, well, that's a nice hat. They're going to get a first class ticket to heaven. Well, why are you wearing such a beautiful hat? So if you're not still worried about fashion.
That is a discussion for another day. Closer to Easter, we'll talk about hats and how the First Lady's hats in the church was a thing of pride. And
okay, so we'll talk about it, but if you're going to talk about a woman dressing beautifully for her husband, in my opinion, it's less about holiness and it's more about the issue that you have with a woman's body. That's a personal issue. That's your issue. It's not my issue.
I take your point on that. And that sets us up for how it is that a woman or women are perceived, how it is that it's perceived appropriate for a woman to dress at work. We've both been in situations where we've had colleagues that may come in, this is when we were going to the office or going to a meeting, that may have worn something that was eyebrow raising to some degree. The thing that I find fascinating is how it is that Black women at work, and you could speak to this better than I can, are held
because I'm a Black woman and you're not.
Yes, on
okay.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Clear on why I could speak to it and you couldn't.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you are. So how it is that a Black woman wearing the same outfit that a white woman can wear, but if that Black woman has curves and those curves are accentuated by what it is that she's wearing, then it's deemed more sexual, more inappropriate than, as you would say, Becky or Abby wearing it and they may not have curves to accentuate it. And how it is that the body shaming is not about what you're wearing. It's more about the aesthetics of the body.
Right, and that just goes back to, like I said, that a double F factor when it comes to a Black woman's body. There's a fear and a fascination. They're fearful of it for whatever reason. Our bodies are something of fascination. Men and women, they feel comfortable commenting on our bodies. It's comfortable. Commenting on our hair, touching our bodies. And like, wow, I didn't know this was communal property. How interesting. Again, we go back to the $2 whore. You can't afford me. Stop touching me.
Well, you are expensive. But that's
I'm very expensive. And then
hold on. I want to pull back on the hair thing. Because this is a question I have for you. If I look at your hair when you comb it, because we've established the fact that you don't comb your hair all the time, when did you know, or at what age did the touching, can I touch your hair, because you grew up around a lot of white folks, when did that enter into your life?
It entered into my life in kindergarten. I have PTSD over hair because I would have to sit down for hours for my mom to braid my hair, to wash it or to press it or whatever she was doing. And that took away from me going out and doing something. So I do not find joy in going to a beauty shop or any of that. I find it annoying and too long. I just don't want to do it. But because my mom did put my hair in elaborate, beautiful braids, she would French braid my hair. My mom, her artistry was in my hair. Like she did some fantastic things with our hair. And it was fascinating to my peers at school because I had these beautiful braids, these intricate designs, and they would start touching my hair in kindergarten. And me, I'm pulling back. And if they continue, I was also, I think we already talked about this. I was okay with physical altercation. I'm fine with that.
Because you're
But I was a good kid. I was a good student.
You're mean,
but
and
you can't touch me. And I have a problem to this day, even with my partners, my children, anybody touching my face or hair. I just don't like it.
But you are a toucher, you say.
Right, but not, I mean, I can touch your face, but I don't want you touching my face because you've got oily hands and I'm not into that. And I don't want you touching my hair. And that hair touching could have been something that I took away from my childhood, that I just felt uncomfortable and like I was a doll and not a human being. Like, I'm not your doll. You can't just pull me off of a shelf and touch me and play with me or do whatever. I'm a human being.
Yeah, I think the hair thing, obviously we had representative from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley, who had the Crown Act that was introduced about women specifically being able to wear their hair any style they chose to at work. I'm happy we do have several states and cities that have laws that allow them to dress how you want.
I want to interrupt you. That Crown law, and that you can't discriminate against a woman because of her hairstyle. I talked to you about one of my girlfriends that was interviewing, and she was saying, I got to take my braids out. And even if she is in one of the states that has the Crown law, it's going to be very challenging to prove that the reason why I either didn't get moved on was because of my braids, or I didn't get the job because of my braids. I think that it's a lot easier once you have the job to then pinpoint that, oh, it's because I have braids, it's because I have natural hair, it's because of whatever. So I am thankful for the Crown Act, but I don't think that it necessarily prevents or eliminates that bias during the interview process, which is unfortunate.
Not only interview, but there's statistics that show that some companies can still discriminate against you with respect to how it is that your hair may look or what it is and how it is that your weight may appear. So you may not get that promotion because you're a tad bit bigger than the company is comfortable with you. From that standpoint, we're seeing a lot of body shaming in the culture, but we have to be fair. It starts with us. It starts with some of the things that we are doing and saying in our public pews in church and at the family get-togethers. I think all of us coming off the holidays have been, we're around family members, and someone may have made a comment, ooh, you gained it. You look different. Or you saw someone you hadn't seen in a while and you had to do a double take. And so from that standpoint, we're all responsible and we're all impacted by making those decisions or making those comments about someone.
Two things, well, a couple of things. First off, yes, you do make a comment. That doesn't mean you have to share the comment with anyone. No one, as Thumper's mother said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
I'm looking at you like you have two heads because
I know. We're going to bring that into season 2 too. Just cultural references that you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, not that, but the fact that you would say something like that because you can't keep shit to yourself.
I would never tell someone. I would never say anything like that to anyone. I may make a comment. Oh, okay, but I have no room. Again, we've talked about it. I have no room to tell anyone, you look, wow, you've gained some weight. Okay, I have a friend that I feel that she compares herself to her 19-year-old self. And I was like, we've had birthdays. She said, I was a beauty queen. We were all fucking beauty queens in our 20s. So what? We've moved on, and to hold ourselves to that standard is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I remember we were talking about weight. And so when you're in an at-will state, it's a lot easier to get rid of someone because of whatever. I don't like your lipstick. I don't like whatever. You don't really have to give a justification. In states like California, Massachusetts, yes, you have to give a reason. But at an at-will state, you can just, whatever. You gain 5 pounds, you're out of here. I remember when I had just graduated from undergrad school, I was interviewing to be a flight attendant. And back in the dinosaur age, it was a weight restriction. Like you could only be a certain weight. And I whatever. I just find it interesting when I get on planes now. I was like, well, that's gone. That's interesting. So it doesn't matter.
Hold on.
Flying in a plane.
Hold on. Because look, I'm not a judge. You make judge a lot.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. You are. And I didn't want to call you out, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, John. Because I know that, and we talked about hiring Black.
Yeah.
I know that if there was an attractive white woman and there was a Miss Seeley black woman that were interviewed, you would give the attractive white woman a leg up in sales. I know you would, because you've done it before.
Okay, so two things can be true.
That you're a liar and a hypocrite. You're correct. Two things can be true.
First of all, if I'm hiring a salesperson, I want to hire the most competent salesperson. And if that person happens to be attractive or I believe is going to move the needle forward with respect to the sale, yeah, I'm going to hire the person who I believe men who may be the buyers are going to be more prone to buy from. Now, I will take that and hold that point because I want to make this point here because this leads me to politics. One of the things that struck me as interesting when we were thinking about the body shaming thing, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and the hair. Michelle Obama came out and she said that she did not feel comfortable wearing some type of hairstyles, like braids specifically, while she was in the Oval Office because there were some white folk that were going to be pearl clutched, and there were some black folk that were going to be pearl clutched and say, you shouldn't look this way. Or the shit that she got when she wore that blue dress that showed her arms, and they were like, how dare you show your muscular, toned, fit arms in the White House? How dare you, you fit black woman? So from that standpoint, we see in politics that individuals are body shaming even when you ascend to First Lady, one of the highest offices in the land. What say you about body shaming in politics?
I feel, again, that there is a bias towards black women in politics. I'll even take Sarah Palin. She was very jazzy with her little leather coats and her cleavage and her little glasses. And I could see Alaska from my back window. Yeah, gun and or whatever.
She was in Alaska. She could see Russia.
I show whoever the fuck she could see. You know I don't know geography.
Clearly.
That's not my skill set. At any rate, some circles deemed attractive. She dressed very modern, but there was no issue with that. Our current First Lady, she was in adult things, and no one seems to be concerned about that. But we're concerned about Michelle and her arms and braids in her hair because we have collectively, society, even though technically slavery's over, for whatever reason, society thinks they own a black woman's journey, anything that has to do with her, the way she speaks, the way she presents, the way she looks, the way she does anything. Society feels like they can weigh in on that there is some type of ownership on our journey, which it doesn't always appear that way with my white counterparts, that they can show up any way they want to.
I don't agree with that, but
okay. Well,
yeah, I don't agree with that. Well, before I go to that point, though, I wanted to make a comment about something that just jumped out. And you were talking about black women in politics, and one that just jumped out. You had Representative Jasmine Crockett and the tiff she had with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Didn't it start with Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to body shame Jasmine Crockett about eyelashes or her fingernails or something, which led to the butch built body that was made by Representative Crockett? So even amongst peers, you're correct that in some cultures, they feel that it's appropriate to make a comment about a black woman's body. And so I'll give you that point. Pushback that I want to give to you with respect to how some white women aren't judged to the same standard. I think we do have examples of that not necessarily being true, where it actually is flipped. That would be Hillary Rodham Clinton and how she was treated with respect to how individuals dogged her about her appearance, how she looked grumpy, how she was an unattractive, they felt that she was an unattractive First Lady. And so from that standpoint, she had to imagine how it is that she was going to be perceived in the office. Now, compare that to what it is and how it is that Madam Vice President Kamala Harris was received. Here's something that I found fascinating, and I'm going to ask you this. Do you know why Hillary Clinton started wearing pantsuits?
I don't know. It was comfortable. But, actually, I have a theory. I don't know, and you may know. But I want to say something about that because that was a fair point about Hillary's appearance. And this is something, obviously, I don't have any statistics. But again, I'm going to bring this from season 1. I just make up stuff. That when a white woman is not necessarily deemed attractive by whoever's standards, they can lean into their intelligence, their smarts, their whatever. It doesn't distract. It makes them smarter. it makes them more capable. But a Black woman that is unattractive, all of a sudden she's dumber, she's incapable, she's whatever. Like, what? So I think that for her, leaning into, you don't think that I'm physically attractive? Well, I'm capable, and I'm going to show that. And so wearing the power suits, wearing whatever, just kind of leaned into that whole narrative of her being unattractive to some people.
Yeah. Let me finish the Michelle Obama piece, and then we'll give the background to the Hillary Clinton's wearing pantsuits. So with Michelle Obama, I was listening to one of the podcasts and reading some of her interviews, and she talked about how those comments about her arms, comparing her to an ape, talking about her facial features, or talking about her being muscular and fit, and how it is that was deemed unattractive, not only by whites, but some Black folk said the same thing, and how those 1,000 cuts kept coming because of those comments. In some ways, damaged her psyche about what it is and how it is that she thought about herself. And it took therapy. It took her understanding certain things before she didn't allow it to bother her as much anymore. So we have to be conscious of the fact that we are talking about someone and we're holding them to a standards that in some ways wouldn't hold other individuals to. The Hillary Clinton thing. It started back in the early tenure of her being first lady. She was on a trip to Brazil and she had a skirt on, right? Are you familiar with the term upskirt?
Upskirt?
Yeah.
Is it upskirt?
Upskirt, yeah.
I don't know what that is. What is upskirt?
It's when you wear a skirt and you've seen these guys that look for women to move their legs or position their legs in a certain way so they can get a view of what it is that they may have under their skirt.
They're going to see something underneath my skirt, my legs in their freaking face. I wish the fuck you would try and get underneath my skirt.
So, there are people that will take videos. They will take videos of cameras to get what we call upskirt shots.
Okay, dude, you've got some serious issues.
So in Hillary's case, she went to cross her legs, and in crossing her legs, they showed an image.
It was a basic instinct moment?
Yeah, she had a basic instinct moment. So the Brazilians decided that they were going to make an underwear ad about this.
Oh, no.
And so that led to why it is that she started wearing pantsuits when she started campaigning.
Wow, I did not know any of this.
Yes. She then decided that she was never going to place herself in that situation again.
And that's only a woman that would have to make that shift, that decision. Because I don't know about any women doing up pants with a man. Like, we don't care what kind of junk you got up in there.
That is so not true.
If I'm dating you, I care what's in there. But if I'm not, I couldn't care any less.
So the Hillary Clinton thing, and this is the thing I wanted to push back on, because Hillary and her pantsuits, that became the theme. It was, what is Hillary wearing? You know, comments about this pantsuit or comments about that pantsuit, and was never about her policy. It was always about her look. Now, juxtapose that to MVP. Everyone would concede, or at least the majority of the people would concede, that MVP is an attractive woman, okay? In order to downplay her looks, dressed in pantsuits so that individuals would take her more seriously with respect to policy, that it wasn't about her looks. If you looked at how she was dressed as VP, or you looked at how she was dressing as senator, it was always neutral tones. It was always things that allowed her to blend in and be looked at and be viewed as more serious, so that individuals weren't focused on her looks. So I found that fascinating with respect to the flipping of the perception of one versus the other.
But I think that it feeds back into what we were saying, that there is a double standard when it comes to a Black woman's body, that if you are too attractive, you're not very bright and you're not going to be taken seriously. The hair is a different problem, because as Black women, we wear protective styles because of our hair. We can't just press our hair every single day or wash it like Becky and then, oh my God, here I go. If I did that, it would be like, oh my, you went back to the 70s. Like there's reasons why we do things with our hair. But if you are like, I only want you to wear dresses or whatever, I think it's stupid. But if that's what you want, that's fine. But for you to comment because I wore leggings and When I wore leggings, they looked good. And when Abby wore leggings, they looked basic. I'm sorry, Abby, try walking. What I'm saying is don't fault me for DNA. I had nothing to do with how I was born, how I was drawn, how anything. So why should I get penalized for it?
I take your point there. I think the interesting thing is how it is that, yes, if you are deemed attractive, sometimes you do have to dumb it down, but you do have to dress a certain way so that individuals can stay focused on what they need to stay focused on. And we saw that with Madam Vice President.
I still think it's a them thing and not a you thing. I shouldn't have to apologize for my DNA because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Work on your own demons and you go to therapy. That's a you problem.
Yeah, well, sexism exists. One of the
things mean that we have to continue to allow it to exist and not talk about it and not challenge it, especially when it's not happening to you, Black man. It's happening to a Black woman.
Oh, I would try to challenge it. I would hope that I'm challenging it. I would hope that all Black men, when they see something like that happening, are at least aware of it and, when appropriate, speak up against it.
Right, they do speak up against it. Pastor Brian's wife is a $2 whore. Oh, I'm sorry. You did speak. We would like you to shut up. That would be fine with us.
The last point about politics and body shaming. Mar-a-Lago face is the thing. And that is something that apparently your white sisters are being afflicted by, meaning that apparently everyone who goes down to Florida and finds themselves either working with, or working for, or associated with the shit show has to look a certain way. And so they have this thing called Mar-a-Lago face, where you're Botoxed up, you're injected up in your lips, and you have a certain look. If you look at someone like a Kristi Noem, if you look at other individuals, the young lady who is the U.S. attorney, she has it. They all look a certain way. What say you about Mar-a-Lago face and you standing up for your white sisters?
Well, first off, I just learned of that like a few days ago, and it's like the Stepford wives. You all have to be the same. Now, let me just say this. I have absolutely zero problem with anybody getting any type of assistance with their appearance. If they want to do Botox, if they want to do Ozempic, if they want to do whatever, that's their business. I'm fine with it. For me, I don't want to go get my hair done. So the thought of going to get Botox, and I'm not going to even talk about the cost. Like, I would rather go to Florida and get a puffer fish and just add that into my nightly routine and let it bite me in the face sometime. The problem I have is with society again. When you're presenting that as the standard of beauty, and there are certain people that just, I don't care, I don't need any Botox or filler. Naturally, my lips are full. Like, I don't need to go get that done. But because of my naturalness, it's not the same as you, I don't know, paying for it. My naturalness is not considered as beautiful as you paying for this for some unknown reason. I don't know why, but it is. Like, you're getting the same look as me, but when it's on you, it's beautiful. When it's on me, it's like,
So, yeah, you talk about the fact that, I mean, they're paying $20,000 to get this look.
Now, get a puffer fish. Just let it bite you straight in the face.
Yeah. Apparently, the plastic surgeons in D.C. are having a field day and having a renaissance moment because they have a lot of women that are coming in that are wanting this Mar-a-Lago face.
That they feel that their face is not good enough. And I was always concerned as a parent, like if I had a daughter and I got plastic surgery, am I telling her that she's not good enough? Her face isn't good enough?
Hold on. Because I'm going to push back on that. Because there are women who go out and get breast augmentation. And so if they're getting breast augmentation, are they giving the same statement to their daughters and say, my breasts, if they're small and I want them enhanced, is that wrong?
To me, it is. That's me. But that doesn't mean other people don't feel it. And I have to be super clear. I don't care what you get. If I wanted to go get Botox, I would go get it. But I would get it for me, not for pastor, whoever, or not because somebody said, I don't care what you think. I would do it for me.
That is not true, though. But you get Botox and all those things because you believe they make you look good for someone else.
That's not, John, that's not true. I don't do the Botox. Again, I'm lazy and I'm also cheap. Ain't gonna happen. But I'm saying putting on makeup, let's just do that. I'm not putting on makeup to attract anyone. If I am, I'm doing a terrible job. I put on makeup.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree.
No, well, because you don't wear makeup. So you don't, this is.
How do you know
you can't mansplain this to me.
Rouge your mouth.
I put on makeup because I love the color. I love building. I love the entire process. I always say that my face is my canvas. Like there are people
but you're putting that canvas so that people will think that you look.
Okay, so an artist that paints, they're painting because they want someone to look at their painting and say, oh, that looks good. Or they're painting. Oh, really? They're not doing it because it makes them feel good.
Hold on. Two things can be true. You can do it because you enjoy painting as an outlet because it is your gift. At the same time, you want others to appreciate your gift. So what you're telling me is that you go out and spend, in your case, you've admitted this, thousands of dollars.
That's a damn lie. I never said anything about any thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars from Bobby Brown or whatever the hell, who are the other ones? Aura and all those to wear it because, yes, it makes you feel good. It makes you look good. But you also want individuals to say, hey, you look good. Like me.
I don't, John. I don't.
It's like me buying the colognes that I have, the 500 bottles of colognes that I have and going, yeah, I like the way they smell. But you know what? I also like getting a fucking compliment.
Because you have low self-esteem. I don't. And so you need external validation. I don't. I wear makeup and I put on makeup. There's sometimes I will do makeup, like do my eyes, and I just take pictures of it. I don't go anywhere. I just wipe it off because I like to build the color, and it's an expression of who I am. It is a traditional artist's canvas. That's my face. I just like doing it. I love the colors. I love the rich. I love the pigment. I love blending them together. That is something that I do for myself. Again, if I was doing it to attract someone, I am failing.
I will take your point on that. The last part about body shaming, I'm going to ask you this question. You like Big Luther or Little?
I'm sorry. Say what?
Do you like Big Luther or Little Luther?
Bigger Luther or Little Luther? Who are these Luthers?
You are the whitest black woman in the United States.
Well, thank goodness you've got the blackest white woman in your house.
Hold on. So Big Luther or Little Luther has been a running conversation in the culture for decades. Whether or not you like Big Luther Vandross or Little Luther Vandross. The culture would say that Big Luther...
I get what you're saying. I'm like, who are these people?
The culture would say that Big Luther sounded better than Little Luther.
Oh, interesting.
So, let's start here. Do you know who Luther Vandross is?
I do. And I have to get onto my other screen like, who? Big Luther, Little Luther, who's this? So that's interesting. And so that is very fascinating. I think that there could be something to that, right? So I think the views expressed in this podcast are those of the host and the guest, should not be used for anything else. So I think that there is a difference. And there could be a difference. Let's say this. It could be a difference because when I wear sweats, versus when I wear...
What does that have to do with Big Luther versus
I'm getting ready to give you stay with me. When I wear different clothes, like when I'm getting dolled up versus my sweats, I have a different mindset. I have a different way. There's a different way that I do things. And I think that for him, it could be as a bigger person, I sounded this way. My tone, my everything represented who I was in my body. When I lost weight, that could be a representation of who I am at that point. Also, I think, because I'm not a doctor and I just like to play one on this podcast, that there could be some issues or some differences with the body type. I'm more of a baritone when I'm heavier. I'm more of a when I'm light. There could be differences. I love the way you're looking at me. John, I love the way you look at me.
Because there's no one ever in the black culture that would have that take on.
That's because I am a higher order thinker.
You're a higher something. So let's give it to someone, because you clearly, and I'll talk about Big Luther versus Little Luther in a second. Lizzo. Do you know who that is?
I do know who Lizzo is.
Okay. So Lizzo clearly came out taking a lot of shit about her body and her loving herself for being a big girl, and individuals trying to body shame her for her being a big girl at that time. And she came out and she was very adamant about the fact that she loved her size and loved who she is or was, and that individuals who did not love big Lizzo could go to hell. Okay? Have you seen Lizzo in the last 6 months?
Yeah, I think that she has lost some weight, yes.
Well, from that standpoint, the point I want to make is no matter how proactive, pro-self-love, it's not bothering me. We may try to paint ourselves or portray ourselves as being. In some ways, it can get to you. She came out and also said that, yes, she is taking Ozempic, or yes, she is doing certain things that allowed her to lose some weight to get more healthy. Or on the other side, you have Chloe Bailey. She loves herself and she loves to post stuff on the Look at Me medias, TikTok, Instagram, things of that sort. And a lot of the posts that she makes are provocative and a lot of them are sexualized. A lot of the things that she was getting from the culture and from individuals in the culture was, why are you putting images out here like this about yourself where you're either bending over or showing your assets or dressed provocatively? You shouldn't be posting these images of herself. And so you juxtapose that with respect to if it was a paparazzi or someone taking a picture of her and placing it in a magazine, would that be more appropriate as opposed to her owning how it is that she is putting her images out there? What say you about that?
I just looked her up. Okay, I just didn't know her name. A couple of things. In terms of Lizzo, I adored the way that she owned and the confidence she had. Now, we don't know if she got on Ozempic because of health issues or what. We don't know that. But I can say that the constant bombardment of people, especially at that level, feeling comfortable, making comments about my body, that could get to you. Because even if you don't go to social media, it could impact you. I say, stay out of people's business. One of the things I love about Texas Latino women, they don't give a shit. I will wear a crop top. I don't care if I just had a baby yesterday. I love them. I wish I had the confidence of a Latino Texas woman. Second thing, in terms of putting out content, again, I will say, whatever your creative outlet is, and if it happens to be your body that God created, this body, and we're supposed to treat our body like a temple, we're supposed to love our body, we're supposed to do, because God created it. God created all things beautiful. Why can't I celebrate it? Why can't this be a part of my expression? Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable, there's this thing called a scroll button. Scroll on through, babe. Just keep on going. You ain't got to click and talk.
I take your point there, and I agree with it. I would also say that there's another Texas woman who's Black who's doing something similar. That's Megan Thee Stallion, who is unapologetic about what it is that she.
But she's a Black woman, so she's a doll, and I can make comments, and I can play with her and put her back on the shelf because everybody owns a Black woman's body.
This is true. The other one that came up when we were thinking about body image and body shaming and how it is that it may have impacted them is, have you seen the recent commercials with Serena Williams?
With the weight loss thing?
Yeah. And how it is that for years, individuals were clowning or talking shit about her being too muscular and her body being a certain way, and how it is that she was deemed as unattractive because she was quote unquote too muscular, and individuals wanted to say that she should not be considered the standard for what a tennis player should look like. It should be someone who had the Maria Sharapova look as opposed to the Serena Williams look. When you look at that, you think about Serena now, and again, I'm not an opponent of Ozempic. You take what you need to take to make yourself feel better. But in some ways, you can't not think that the things that were said about her or have been said about her throughout her career didn't have an impact on her with respect to her taking Ozempic. And some women would look at her and say, skin tone looks a little lighter than it did 5 years ago. So is there some Sammy Sosa, Michael Jackson skin bleaching going on with respect to her? And that's a whole nother conversation. But again, it deals with your point with respect to how it is that we police Black women and their body and their...
There's enough room in this world of 8 billion people that beauty doesn't have to be defined by one group of people. Whether you are a size 2, 6, 28, you can still be beautiful. And I don't have to get external validation from anyone for my beauty. And I wish that Black men would say this more to their daughters. I wish that Black women would let their Black daughters know you are beautiful. No matter what, if you have kinky hair, straight hair, whatever kind of hair you got, you're beautiful. And they need to hear that more from, in my opinion, their fathers, their Black men, the uncles, in a supportive, loving way. You're beautiful. I think it's so important for young women to hear that and not to look for that validation through white media, through any other source, and to cultivate that in themselves. Your glass ceiling becomes higher because you have that self-worth that's internal. But that can only happen through our community. When we're tearing each other down, when we're on social media joining in on the fray, like, we don't like your dress, we don't like your weight, we don't like your skin tone, we don't like whatever, we don't like your voice. We can't grow as a community if we're fighting each other.
I take your point there. So let's bring this back to Big Luther versus Little Luther. In some ways, when you think about the culture, and you just said that we need to have these conversations in the culture. We need to have Black men tell their daughters and Black women tell their daughters. When we started talking about Big Luther versus Little Luther, it was a running joke. Yes, Big Luther did sound better than a Little Luther. But underneath that, you had a man that was struggling with health issues, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, other things that were clearly bothering him. And you could see Luther one year at 330 pounds, and next year at 200 pounds. Luther died at the age of 54. You think about the fact that this man had musical talent that very few will be able to touch. And because we as a culture, in some ways, did him no service by having that Big Luther versus Little Luther thing and treating it as a meme. I don't want to say that we were responsible for his death, but we didn't help because we did not love him for who he was, appreciate him for who he was, and he felt the pressure of that, and that exacerbated some of the medical issues that led to his death. So we need to make certain as a culture that we are aware of what it is and how it is that we talk about weight and we talk about body shaming, not just with our girls, but with our boys as well.
That's a very good point. And I agree with you. We may not have been the cause, but we certainly didn't help. You know, I'll leave it with, we're human. We're all human. We're not dolls. We're not toys. We're not something that's just on the internet for you to make comments on. I have feelings because I promise you, you're not perfect. None of us are perfect. No. We're all flawed. We're all trying to do the best we can. But if we can't love each other, how can we expect anyone else to love us?
Yeah, I will say this about the entertainment aspect. We look at Rena. He's a sports icon, and she's labeled as too masculine, too manly. And then you see these racist cartoons that are floating out here about her. I think one of them had her depicted as a monkey or something like that with exaggerated features. And that you have white women athletes who can get strong, they feel empowered. And, you know, for Serena, she is too muscular, this or that. Then you talk about Lizzo and how it is that she may have been impacted by what it is that individuals were saying about her weight, or how with Chloe Bailey can't own her sexuality on IG without us making comments about that. Megan Thee Stallion, and even though she is probably one of the most celebrated, cerebral businesswomen of her generation, the fact that she gets on video and she can twerk, that's all that we think about. But then obviously we talk about Luther's weight and how that led to the heart attack that took him away from us at the age of 54. So from that standpoint, you know, we've moved through how it is that body shaming impacts us in a couple ways, in culture, politics, and entertainment. But again, the message is the same. Black bodies, as you said, are often treated as public property. And the cultures, just because you can wear it doesn't mean that you should, especially when you're talking about church.
I'd say when you're on a date with your husband and want to feel beautiful and attractive, go for it. When you're in the church, you might want to think about it because it could distract from the message. But when I'm out with my man, I'm bringing it.
Well, I appreciate that. But, you know, the church is going to say, yeah, you can't wear that in church. Or you'll have individuals looking at you when you're dressing to go to work going, You sure you want to wear that to work?
And I'm sure, do you have work to do? Worry about getting that spreadsheet done and don't be worried about the spread over here.
Look, whether it's that, whether it's individuals talking about Ayanna Presley's and the Crown Act, or Hillary and her pantsuits, or Lizzo's weight, we have to do better at having conversations about body shaming and, more importantly, how we are talking about individuals and whether or not that conversation that we're having is meant for private consumption or public consumption. And the next time that we're having that conversation about someone's body, then we need to decide whether or not we're doing it because we care about them or we're doing it for entertainment.
I agree with you. I think that there's a few things as a takeaway. Our bodies are not communal property. You can't check us out of the library when you feel like it and make comments about it. Our bodies are our bodies. Stay out of our closet, stay out of our dresses, stay out of my pantsuit. Just stay out of it. Secondly, community, we need to practice self-love and letting our daughters, our young boys and girls know that you are gorgeous and you're beautiful just the way you are, just the way that God made you. Third, that we as people, we have agency over this temple that God gave us. And if we want to celebrate that, if we want to love on it, if we want to extenuate it, God gave this to us. Why would I be shameful over something that God gave me? I'm not. Just because it makes you feel good, again, work on your own spreadsheet.
So what's the point of today's episode? Is the big idea that body shaming isn't just about mean comments, especially in the Black community. It's about a system that is telling us our bodies are not acceptable and there are other individuals who are more marketable in terms of what it is that we consider, quote unquote, the standard of beauty and how it is that those bodies are going to be treated. You spoke about the fact that we still haven't left behind that slavery mentality where individuals sort of feel that they own Black bodies and they have the ability to tell us what and how it is that we're going to present them. So here's the challenge. When you feel that urge to have the comment about Miss Lynn's body, whether it's her, whether it's a celebrity or a cousin, I want you to pause and ask yourself, am I talking about their choices, right? Or am I policing their existence?
That's a bar, John. Or someone said in the comments, JD, that's a bar.
When you see a headline mocking a politician's face or a star's weight, what would the conversation look like if it was focused on their power instead of? So when we're having that conversation, make certain that we're talking about the right things. Folks, if you enjoyed today's conversation, let us know in the comment section. We're going to pin a comment and we want you to respond to that comment in the show notes because Ms. Lynn loves engaging with you guys and it looks like she gets in a fight, I think, every week with someone. So if today's episode brought up some trauma or some memories about you and some of your conversations with your cousins, or if you had the Big Luther versus Little Luther conversation, we know Ms. Lynn didn't because she didn't know who Luther is. Please let us know in the comment section because we love to hear what it is that you're thinking. Our bodies are not punchlines. They're not performance reviews. They're not campaign talking points. They're ours. Take care of them. Treat yourself well. Be nice to the people that are in your sphere and watch what we say about individuals when we don't know what they may be going through. Do that this week, and I guarantee your life will be a lot better than it was last week. While you're out and about this week, take the time to do something nice for yourself. And while you're at it, make the time to do something nice for someone else. Until next time, we'll talk to you.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for listening and spending your time with us on I Take Your Point. For more unfiltered conversations like this, click the link in the description. Huge thank you to our production team. We couldn't do this without you. Quick disclaimer, the views shared are those of the host and guest and are for informational purposes only, not professional advice. Keep building your own table. Take care and be well.